For tonight?
I'm rooting for everybody black. I am betting on black tonight.
Lovely. You look great.
Welcome to Code Black Facts, where we talk about all things black to include news and viral videos, mental health, self-love, self-care, self-development, black women issues, crime stories, and black history. If you are interested in any of these topics, please subscribe to my channel, like, share, and don't forget to comment below. Thank you.
Say it's a black thing, run deep in the roots. Blacker the berry, baby, the sweeter the juice.
All right, y'all, so here it is. I never usually use my own personal pictures as pick of the day, but today I have to do it because I want to share this beautiful, extraordinary moment. It's me and Bree, the next mother of our child. It's a boy. We found out officially yesterday. Even that felt, it's weird because that sounds weird saying the next mother, because as everybody know, I have a lot of children. And I love them all dearly, sincerely. And every single one of my children are just as special as the other. I try. It's never a competition. It's never. I mean, parents know what I mean when I talk about just the love that you have for a child, whether it's a child that's here, whether it's a child that's no longer here, whether it's a child that's grown, whether it's a child that's about to be here. That passion that no matter, it doesn't matter how many you have or anything. It's just this unconditional love, this godly-like love that comes over the process. So, but I try to always operate on the highest frequency, but as
Hello, everyone. Thank you guys for joining me here with Code Black Facts. You guys know I love you and appreciate you. So I wanted to pose this question. Is Nick Cannon helping or supporting the baby mama epidemic that, so many people say that is the problem with the, not just society in general, right, but the black community? Is he helping that? Is he supporting that issue, that epidemic? I pose this question because, as we all know, Nick Cannon, he has several children with several different women. To be exact, Nick Cannon has a total of 5 baby mamas, actually 4 baby mamas, 1 ex-wife, so 5 different women that he has children with. Okay, so to give you a breakdown, Nick Cannon has twins with Mariah Carey. He has a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old with a woman named Brittany Bell. He has a 7-month-old twins with a woman named Abby La Rosa. And then he had a baby with Alyssa Scott. That was a baby that passed away. And then he now has a woman pregnant by the name of Bree Tallis. And then that miscarriage baby he had with, I think it was with Abby La Rosa. She had the miscarriage before she had those twins. Okay, so let me recap because I know it's a lot. So Nick Cannon has a total of 6 living children and then 1 that is on the way, which would count as 7. However, he did have 1 child that passed away, and he had another child that never made it because it was the woman had a miscarriage. So he would have had a total of 9 children. But again, 1 passed away, and the other one was a miscarriage. So he has a total of 6 living children, 1 on the way, which makes 7. Now, of course, when this information was leaked, I believe it was leaked by TMZ first. But of course, when this information came out, you had a bunch of people who had a lot to say, a bunch of jokes. You had a lot of people congratulating Nick Cannon. You had a lot of people, like, man, another one. So I thought that I would do, some content on this because Nick Cannon is a black man. And we do know that there is a large presence on social media as it relates to baby mama talk and black women having a bunch of kids, and the issues with the black community are the fatherless homes, and the 70 something percent of black children being raised in single parent homes or single mother homes, and how all of this all ties together and is a problem. Now, make no mistake, Nick Cannon's, all of the mother of his children, his ex-wife, and then his baby mamas, those women are mixed women, and some of them are mixed and some of them are not. Some of them are just straight up white women, or Latina women, while others are mixed. And but make no mistake, the children of those unions, they look like racially ambiguous children, mixed race children, white children, whatever. And so I say that because, fortunately in society, those children will be considered black because they do come from a black man. And, in society, that's just what it is. If you have any black parent, then you're considered black. You're not considered white. Now, personally speaking, I do not go by that rule. If you are a mixed race person, then you are a mixed, you belong to the category of mixed, people, mixed children. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I actually think that people who deem themselves mixed do deserve their own category instead of being grouped in with, one race. And if you really do research and look into these groups, a lot of these mixed race people from these groups, they don't like to necessarily having to pick a side, as they would say, or having to be grouped in, because there are two parts to them. And so that's a discussion for another time, but I did want to point that out because, again, this channel talks about all things black. And although his children are mixed race, part of them is black. They do have some part of them that is black because their father is black. So I wanted to talk about this because, of course, in, black society, there is conversation about, single parent homes, fatherless homes, and how the so-called epidemic is an issue. But yet and still, you got so many people that say it's an issue, so many people that say, it does more harm. Yet and still, a man who is very well informed, don't think for 1 minute that Nick Cannon doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know. I mean, for God's sake, he actually had a podcast that he used to do where he would speak about things concerning the black community, and he would have, black leaders on there. Part of the reason why he got booted out was because of the conversation that he had around what those in media consider to be anti-Semitic statements that Nick Cannon made. And as a result, we all know what the result was. They snatched the wilding out from him and basically, reprimanded him, and he went on an apology tour. And I don't want to get too much into that, but if you're interested in that, just go and you can look it up. Just type it up. Nick Cannon anti-Semitic comments, and you'll find out what happened. But so it's not like Nick doesn't know what's going on as it relates to the black community. He was, when he did have the show that he did around certain topics related to black people, he mentioned Minister Farrakhan, and so Nick knows what's going on. And at one point Nick was married to Mariah Carey. So there was a point, and then of course he talked about, his grandparents and how his grandparents were married, and how he saw, he did see marriage growing up and stuff like that, and he was raised by his father. And I don't want to get too much into that, but I bring all of that to the forefront because, it speaks to Nick. I don't think for one second that Nick doesn't know the conversation that's going on among single motherhood, fatherless homes in the Black community. I think he's well aware of that. I think that he separates himself from that because he has money. And, a lot of people do that. A lot of men with money. But again, we're talking about the Black community, so I have to go talk about Black men. I'm not concerned about other men from other groups, right? So as it relates to Black men, a lot of Black men with money, wealthy money, you know, have this belief that because they have money, that they can have several different women become pregnant and that they can, take care of those children because they have that money. And although that may be, true, it takes more than just money to raise a healthy child. The saying where it says it takes a village to raise a child, I believe that. I totally believe that because, it takes, the school system, it takes, your mom, your dad, your family, your friends, like a whole support system to help you raise a child, to nourish their minds and their intellect and so many other aspects. But it takes a lot more than just money to raise a healthy child, a child that, is emotionally healthy, physically healthy, financially healthy, socially healthy even. It's more than just money. And, when you really think about it if you've ever sat down or ever watched any shows, right? What's one of the show? Van Zant, Ayana Van Zant, Fix My Life. It's so many people that go on to that show where they talk about their daddy issues or their mommy issues, right? So just merely having one parent in the home is not enough. Merely having one parent that loves you, that cares for you, but then you're still raised in an environment where there's struggle, there's pain, there's trauma. So again, it takes more than just money to raise a child and to be there and nourish a child. And so because, it takes more than just the money, it takes your time, spending time with your children. And so, of course, a bunch of people raised the question like, how is Nick able to spend, the time that is needed with his children? How is he able to do that when, he has children spread out through different, 5 different households? And, some people are like, oh, well, maybe, he gets them all together. Yeah, getting your kids together every blue moon, every other, whatever is cool. But I can tell you that, we don't know if the mothers, like, we don't know how the mothers are reacting to this because, the mothers, they are pretty quiet and pretty private about what goes down. But when we seen the Mariah Carey situation, around Christmas, let me show you guys the video.
So, and like we were talking about the book, and if I can try to be semi-serious for a second, in my memoir, I talk about how when I was a little kid, growing up with no money, growing up being mixed, not understanding, having, identity issues, all the things, and then that going through my career and stuff and all the different things that have happened that I never really talked about to even some of my best friends. The thing is, when I wrote about Christmas, I was like, oh wait, I don't want to bring people down because there's some like depressing stuff that happened. But that's the reason that it motivated me to really go all the way in every Christmas, every year. And I just want my kids to have the best time. And honestly, it's like a lot of it is for me.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Will any of their stepbrothers or stepsisters ever get to enjoy Christmas your way? Because it's a special way.
Is it step? I don't think it's step. It's
No?
if you're not married to the person. I don't know
Okay,
about
so-
that. That's a different
No?
that's a different interview for you.
I hear you, Mariah. I hear you.
So, as you guys could see, Mariah Carey was not going for it. She wasn't having it. She's like, no, you are going to respect me and make a distinction between me and the baby mamas. That was loud and clear. That's pretty much what that meant when she stopped him and was like, nah, nope. Stepchildren, no, them ain't no stepchildren. For them to be stepchildren, there has to be a marriage. And basically what she was saying was, no, boo, them kids ain't in the same boat as mine. So I think that just kind of, and that's not to say that, Mariah has like some type of like negative, outlook on the children. I think it's more so like it's a respect thing. Like, okay, this was my husband. So, me and the children that we have, we kind of, we up here a little bit. We'll step up from just the baby mama. That's how I took it. And Mariah is old school. I mean, she's a woman who is in her late 40s now. So, I mean, it's not too far-fetched for a woman of her age to, have that perception as it relates to, being like the main woman or the wife. And then, the other women that come along that was never there is kind of like a few steps down. And so are the children, And so that's what I picked up, But of course, you guys can make your own, your own perception of how you would take that. Okay, so the last thing that I wanted to mention was the ages of these women. So, for example, when Nick got with Mariah was in her late 30s. She was 39 years old when he got with her, and they had children. She had her children in her 40s. The woman Brittany Bell, she had her child around the time when she was 30. Okay, she's like in her mid 30s now, but she has a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. So she had her child around the time she was 30. The Abby LaRosa, same thing with her. She had her twins around the time when she was 30. Alyssa Scott, same with her. She had her child with Nick around the time in her mid to late 30s. And then this recent one, again, she's around her 30s. She's like 30. So I bring that up because, these are women that, so let me break it down like this. There are women out there that do not want children. They do not want children. But women who do want children, let me repeat this. Women who desire and want children usually want them when they are in their mid to late 20s. And by the time they get into their late 20s, they are like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I got to have a kid. I got to have a kid. And then they trying to find somebody to have a child with. And this is not to say, see, these women, they are attractive women. These are not ugly women. So I'm not saying that they couldn't have found, a dude. But I do think that when it comes to a lot of women who are, outside of the Black community, meaning they're on the outside looking in, right? Sometimes they do see Black men as, okay, well, I know I could probably have his kids and he probably ain't gonna want that much to do with them, because there is a stereotype in the Black community as it relates to Black men and children, right? Them not being present, them not being there, them not being fully present. And so because these women waited till they were, up in age, late 20s, mid 30s, things like that. I'm not saying that Nick was used or is being used, because Nick clearly is he's telling the whole world that this is something that he wants to do. But we cannot ignore the ages of these women. We can't ignore that. I think that definitely is another layer of insight into this whole thing. And look, don't get me wrong. Nick can lay up with whoever he want to lay up. I don't care. I don't even know the man. But he is a black man, which means he is a part of the black community, which means that within the black community, you got everybody on all sides are talking about how the fatherless homes is a major problem. So that's why I posed the question. Is Nick adding to that? Is he supporting that whole notion? I say yes. Because even though he's a man that has money and he's able to take care of these children, I'm sure, Mariah Carey, she doesn't need Nick money. Hell, she's got way more than him. And probably some of the other women, maybe they don't need Nick for, the money. I don't know. But what I do know is when you get up in age and you are a woman who wants children, you looking for whomever will be down. And everybody know Nick is down to have kids. So I'm just saying that's a factor. That's something that I'm like, okay, y'all wait. One lady, she 38. Mariah Carey was 39, but they actually ended up getting married. So that's why I don't put too much emphasis on Mariah, because she was like, you gonna have to put the ring on it if you want to impregnate this cootie cat. So I gotta, she's different. But these other ones, late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s, oh, they was looking. I personally believe that they were looking for somebody to get them pregnant. And, I think a lot of times when we think of that notion, we always think of it as like, oh, I don't know. I'm not gonna say what I'm thinking. I ain't gonna say that. But anyways, you guys let me know what your thoughts are. Like, do you think he's adding to this epidemic that everybody say is going on within the community, or is he not? Should more men have his mindset? Like, what are you guys' thoughts? And for anybody who, if this is your first time listening, I thank you for listening, and I of course invite you to continue to listen and become a subscriber. And on that note, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.